I thought I would share with you first a little ecclesiastical gossip. Everyone should have a little ecclesiastical gossip in their vocabulary. When Pope St. Pius X was the Pope, he had a very strong-willed Secretary of State named Maria del Val. And it was very much presumed that Maria del Val would be the successor of Pius X. There was an archbishop in Italy whose diocese ordinarily would have a cardinal in charge of it. But every time his name got put on the list to be made a cardinal, Del Val took it off. So at one point, the Pope Pius X got the list back and put the name back on, and he was made a cardinal. Pius X dies, they have a conclave, and who is elected but this man who had been exiled from the cardinalate for so many years, became Pope Benedict XV. Della Chiesa was his real name. And it was customary in those times that every cardinal would come and make his obeisance to the new pope before there was any public ceremony. And it is told that as Maria del Val came and made his obeisance, the new pope said, "The stone which the builders rejected has become the cornerstone in our eyes," to quote Psalm 118. Jesus as Good Shepherd. We don't experience shepherds very much in our Piedmont community that I've noticed. But I've also been to Israel. And in many cases, things aren't terribly different with the Bedouins than they were in Jesus' day. They have flocks. What those flocks eat on is something I've never been able to see. It must be very thin grass. But at night, to keep them safe, everybody brings their flocks together. So they have one big pen and perhaps a couple of people standing guard so no wolf or thieves come in and dismember the flock. In the morning, though, all these sheep are mixed up together. How do they separate them? Each shepherd has a particular call in his voice. And when he uses that call, his sheep come out and follow him. And another call, and his sheep go out and follow him to whatever pasture they can find. That's what Jesus said, the sheep recognize my voice. That's the image he was talking about. His sheep hear his tone, hear his voice, hear the tone that he has, hear his unique call. We also are very clearly given evidence that Jesus did in fact lay down his life for his sheep, for us. The question, I guess, would be, whose voices are we listening to? There are a lot of voices at us. A lot of voices in the world, a lot of voices saying what you should have, or what you should be doing, or what you should possess, or how you should act. There are a lot of worldly voices, temptations in the long run, that are calling to us. In the midst of all that noise, do we hear the voice of Christ? Do we hear our Good Shepherd's call? Are we sensitive and attuned to the tone of his voice? Now, I'll be very frank about it. If you don't pray, I'd say you're not very well tuned. Because it's only in prayer, quiet, listening prayer, that one gets tuned in to what the Lord and to do. So if I only say prayers out of a book, or I only go to Mass on Sunday, that's good. I'm not saying that's bad. But I'm not going to become sensitive. I'm not going to become attuned to the promptings of the Lord in my life. I'm not going to be attuned to His voice, the sound of what He is calling me to do, how He is calling me to be, unless I listen in prayer, quietly, so that the Lord's voice gradually becomes more a part of, I can really pick that up in the midst of all the noise of our world and our lives. It requires some quiet space, not massive amounts, but some. And we all can find some if we want to. The trouble is we want prayer to produce a result right now. I want to feel good. Forget that. You don't feel anything. It's a matter of giving God time. And let God speak. Let God act. Let God transform us from within, that we become better sheep, better listeners, better followers. The second thing is we are meant to be somewhat shepherds ourselves. We are to continue on the work of Christ, which means that our reaching out and care for others, Catholic or not, is part of what it means to be one of His sheep. We are, if you want, little shepherds, committed shepherds, commissioned shepherds to the world around us, that they may come to see and know and experience the mercy and the love of God through us, through our actions, through our care, through our attitude. We are a long way from perfect. I've been around a lot of sheep. They're a long way from perfect. But the advantages of being in one flock with one shepherd who really cares, who gives his life for us, makes all the difference. May we become sensitive to His voice, His presence, as He transforms us into being good shepherds to our world.